There was a Na'vi school before Jake arrived? We got a peek at a future version of Earth and Jake goes on some sort of acid trip? This is James Cameron's Avatar we're talking about, right? With a perfectionist like James Cameron and a world as big as Pandora, you can imagine there wasn't enough time for a fair few scenes to make it into the final cut. More than 45 minutes of deleted scenes were included in the Avatar Extended Collector's Edition. There's a lot to appreciate about Avatar and these hidden moments that make you truly appreciate how much work went into this. This stuff is pretty cool, so let me share with you some deleted moments from James Cameron's Avatar. There was a lot of hype for Avatar when it first came out, and beforehand there was a lot of promotions and marketing. One such attempt at marketing was a sneak peek at the Spike Scream Awards, which turned into a scene that didn't make the theatrical release, only in extended cuts. Before we see Jake arriving in Pandora, James Cameron intended to give us some delicious world building as to Jake's character and what his version of Earth looked like. We get some backstory as to Jake having lost his legs as a soldier and now living out his days doing party tricks at bars. At such a bar, he sees a woman being abused, and despite being in a wheelchair, he floors the guy abusing her. He then gets chucked out, survives a blow to a head with his wheelchair, and laughs in the rain. This is where he gets approached by men in suits asking about his twin brother who recently passed, which then brings us to the actual opening of the movie. Honestly, this scene would have really worked for Jake's character and emphasized how different Pandora was to his old home. It would have emphasized Jake's hard stance on injustice, no matter what mess he ends up in. Jake's transition into being accepted in the Na'vi tribe was a lot more in-depth in extended cuts and unanimated deleted scenes. During the extended cuts of the movie, we see that Jake and crew pay a lot more attention to the nature around them on Pandora, including taking notice to the Sturm Beast, a large buffalo-like creature. This focus on them is then touched on again when, as part of Jake's trials with the tribe, he goes on a group hunt where he makes a clean kill. This scene, which was included in the extended cut, was a cool moment, but it didn't nearly have as much importance as the next deleted scene, which could have built on the solid development of the characters' relationships. In a barely animated scene, Jake gets drunk with the rest of the tribe during a hunt festival in celebration of their recent mission. During this, some really nice development goes on between Jake, Tsu-tey, Neytiri, and her parents. Tsu-tey mentions how the Sky People are small, always fighting from far away in their machines,
hide inside machines.
and never thought that one of them could be courageous. This brotherly moment, however, is interrupted when Neytiri drags Jake onto the dance floor where we see them looking at each other intimately. It's a shame that this scene wasn't included, as it really solidified the progression of Jake's relationships within the tribe, especially with Neytiri, and that moment where Tsu-tey admits that he may have been rash with Jake makes his eventual upset over his relationship with Neytiri all the more powerful. Now, I'm so glad this deleted scene eventually saw the light of day in extended cuts because it's just too good. Grace is an amazingly caring character, and her relationship with the Omotakaya is nowhere near given the justice it deserves in the theatrical release. In the deleted scenes, we see the Avatar crew visit Grace's old school, which has been abandoned. A couple of gunshot holes in the wall make Jake question what happened between Grace and the tribe, but it's only later, where she is caring for Jake in his human body, that we find out about the tragedy that happened. The Na'vi were initially very willing to learn from Grace and the Sky People, but Neytiri's older sister was angry with the deforestation, and alongside a group of young hunters set a bulldozer on fire. They fled to the school hoping that Grace would protect them, but the RDA just slaughtered them all.
They killed Sawanan in the doorway, right in front of Neytiri.
As a result, the school was abandoned and tensions reached an all-time high. This information solidifies the Omatakaya's distrust of the humans, as well as emphasizing Grace's relationship with them. In the film, where she is separated from her avatar body, imprisoned, and then on the brink of death, it makes the tribe's actions to help her a lot more understandable. She was practically the closest person to the tribe before Jake got involved. Okay, so I can understand why this scene was cut out, because even though there isn't anything strictly explicit, it was heavily implied. As we know, the Na'vi have this hair-tail plug thing, which allows them to truly connect with another creature, feel what they feel. Of course, if you had something like that, it was going to be used for other things, such as rolling around in the alien hay. Whenever Jake and Neytiri go to the Tree of Voices, they share their first kiss, and what we see is an intimate but toned down version of them being with each other. The deleted scene, however, has one important addition: joining their hair plugs together so they can feel everything the other is feeling. If you look at the way they react when they do it, it's very clear that this is their version of passionate relations. Perhaps the studios thought that this addition was either too suggestive for the age rating, or maybe just a bit too weird. Maybe you like it, or maybe it's not for you. I mean, I'm not here to shame anyone's browser history. Wink, wink. The character of Norm Spellman was perhaps the most screwed out of his original screen time. He's a scientist who works very closely with Grace during the movie, and on his arrival on Pandora, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of deleted scenes that involve his character and development. There are some funny moments, including him calling himself a living god when he first entered his avatar.
I am a living god.
And Jake walking in on him and Trudy testing the springs on their base beds. And finally, his avatar's death scene sees him killed by Lyle Wainfleet, another underutilized character. We really missed out on a whole new perspective in the film's cast, and these scenes would have also shed a bit of light about Trudy's loyalty to the group instead of the RDA. Again, coming back to the various trials that Jake has to go through in order to be accepted into the Amatakaya tribe, one cut scene included Jake going on a fully enlightening experience by taking the Na'vi equivalent of an acid trip. So in this deleted scene, Jake argues with Norm and Grace about the trial before going through with it, surrounded by other Na'vi. Once he goes through with it, we see the basics of what was meant to be there, which was Jake seeing the connection of all life energy, which then results in him seeing through the eyes of a dragon while it flies through a destroyed landscape. You can tell they were gonna go hard with this scene, but for whatever reason, be that age ratings or it just not fitting in with James Cameron's vision, it wasn't finished. If completed though, it would have been something to even make films like The Life of Pi jealous. At some points in watching a film, you just want to get from A to B, with any unnecessary filler being removed. Sometimes it's just dramatizing the moment when you don't really need it. Let me know if you think that with this next scene. Whenever Jake and Neytiri return to the tribe to warn them against attacking the RDA, Tsu-tey confronts them about their night together. This results in Jake and Tsu-tey duking it out before Jake and Grace get forcefully pulled from their avatars by Colonel Miles. In the original scene, the two trade quick blows before Jake tries to explain why attacking the RDA is a bad idea. It gets the point across, but this is a shortened version of what was supposed to happen. In this deleted scene, Tsu-tey tries to attack Jake, but it's broken up and organized into an official challenge where the two trade blows with large staffs. But it draws out what was easily accomplished with less time. This scene didn't even get animated, but would have really hammered home how screwed Tsu-tey was after Jake's arrival. Not only did Jake take away his beloved bride, but died having tried to protect his people. In this scene removed from some of the early drafts of the script, Tsu-tey was supposed to face off against Corporal Lyle Wainfleet in his mecha, after which, when Tsu-tey fails, Lyle then cuts off Tsu-tey's hair plug, something which not only brings incredible shame to the victim, but is also insurmountable painful. Due to this, when Jake and the tribe find him later, Tsu-tey would ask Jake to mercy kill him. This contrasts quite a lot with what we actually got in the film, which was Tsu-tey getting overwhelmed by numbers and then forgiving Jake, giving him his old responsibilities before passing on from gunshot wounds. I think what we got in the end was better because it gave us a nice rounded character arc of acceptance from Tsu-tey rather than him just being the tragic fall of a warrior. Avatar's ending does leave a few things out in the open. Why is it that members of the Avatar program were allowed to stay on Earth when the Amaticaya didn't have significant interaction with them in the film? And what happens to the tribe afterwards? Well, there are a few scenes cut from the ending which would explain these things. In this deleted scene after the Colonel's defeat, we see several members of the Avatar program getting into their avatars and taking control of the RDA base during the chaos. In a later scene, we see Jake and Neytiri surrounded by some pregnant Na'vi and children playing in water, where it's inferred that Neytiri is going to have a child. The first scene was pretty badass, with Dr. Max Patel bulldozing into the building. It would have also explained why certain people were able to remain on Pandora. I don't know about you, but the final scene with pregnant Na'vi looked a little weird to me. It wasn't fully animated, but still. And besides, with so much money being poured into the underwater motion capture of Avatar 2, 3, and so on, I doubt any scene involved being in natural water would have been perfect enough for Cameron to greenlight. And there you have it. Honestly, these deleted scenes just make you more excited to explore Pandora and the upcoming sequels. What do you guys think? What was your favorite scene, and were there any that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks guys, and we'll see you next time.